Today's date is May 12th, 2021. The time is 1:18 p.m. I am Detective Newman of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, a law enforcement deputy conducting a criminal investigation. This interview is being conducted at 100 Woodcross Drive. I am interviewing Zofie Bauman. Zofie, could you go ahead and state your full name and date of birth for me, please?
Zofie Lorraine Bauman. I was born January 30th, 2006.
Okay. Before we get started, I would like to confirm that this statement is a voluntary statement, that no one has threatened you, coerced you, or induced you to give this statement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And I'd also like to go ahead and confirm that we asked your parents if it was okay for you to talk alone, and they agreed, and that you requested to speak to me alone. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to place you under oath. This will be a sworn recorded interview taken by a law enforcement deputy pursuant to Florida Statute 117.10. Please raise your right hand.
Sorry,
Yep.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the statement you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. You can go ahead and put your hand down. What's your address, Zofie? Okay. And do you have a cell phone?
I do.
What is your cell phone number?
Uh,
Okay. How old are you? You're 15?
I'm 15 years old.
Do you work anywhere?
I do not.
Okay. Where do you go to school?
Patriot Oaks Academy.
Okay. What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th.
Okay. So we've talked to obviously a lot of people about this case. There's a lot of people saying a lot of different things, but one of the things that I understand is that Aiden Fucci was your boyfriend. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you tell me about Aiden?
Aiden, he was a really tough kid. He had a lot of issues, and
It's okay. Take a deep breath. Until you're shaking up. It's okay.
I know that there was a really rough time for him at home. He would talk about that a lot.
What would he tell you about that?
He would tell me his mom would tell him he was a disappointment to her family, that he felt neglected by her, that he felt neglected by both of his parents, that he was the least favorite in his family. He told me that sometimes his dad would hit him, and his dad never really let him show emotions.
When we're talking about his dad, are we talking about his biological father? Okay.
Yeah. But it seems that he had a little bit of a better relationship with his dad than his mom. He had anger issues. I was aware of that. He told me that he really hated getting angry. And he hated doing things that he didn't mean to do when he got angry.
What type of things would he do when he got angry?
He usually told me he would just throw something. I never really saw him that angry before.
Okay.
He never kind of let me.
Okay. Have you ever seen Aiden get violent with anybody?
Yes.
Who?
There was a incident where we went to the South Amenity Center for this thing that usually goes on at Friday. It's called Food Trucks. And I guess he was gonna get a vape from this kid, and instead of, like, I guess buying it from him, he just took it, and then the kid tried to, like, hit him, so he hit him back, and he beat him up.
Who was that kid?
All I know is that his name was Henrik.
Okay.
It's the only time I saw him got violent, though.
Okay. What was Aiden and Trey's relationship like? How are they?
We were all kind of best friends, but Trey and Aiden, they were really the only two kids at their school that had each other's back. Both of them grew up. I know that both of them kind of grew up in a rough area, and they were both known for kind of having bad records. So they got along, and they hung out a lot. You know, they would get angry at each other. I know that they got in a big fight half of the year, but I wasn't there at that time. But they considered each other like brothers.
Okay. Was there anybody else that they hung out with a lot?
It was mostly every day just the three of us. There were just a few people that we would occasionally be with once in a while, but they never really kind of became part of our group of three.
Okay.
I guess.
Did Aiden carry any personal items on him every day? I mean, what did he normally keep with him?
Aiden kept knives for protection. He
Okay.
always had a knife on him if he wasn't at school. He would keep his AirPods. He listened to music to try and calm him down. He said that helped him with
Okay.
his anger.
When you say he kept knives, was it, usually a different knife? Did he have one that he was partial to that was like his favorite, or?
He had like a few. He didn't really say he had a favorite. He just had knives, and sometimes he'd bring one or another, or
Did he say any? Did he have? I mean, when you say knives, we're talking like
just like pocket knives. I
folding
guess.
pocket knives?
Yeah, like they would fold up and.
Okay. If you had to describe any of them that you can remember, could you tell me about what they looked like?
Yeah. Well, there was mainly two that he would have on him, and it was one that his stepdad gave him. It was like a kind of gray, black, like army-looking one. It had a skull on it, maybe like an orange skull on it or something, and he called it Picker.
Okay.
Because it had, I guess, teeth. The knife had.
You mean like it had a serrated edge?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he have any others that he kept?
Yeah.
Normally.
There was another one. It was like yellow, and it was like it was made out of wood, I think.
Okay.
And he called that one.
Did it look like this?
Yeah.
Did it look like it, or is that the same type of knife?
That's the same knife.
Okay. And just so you understand, I'm holding a folding buck knife.
Yeah.
With a brass frame, right? And a wooden handle? Okay. So you've seen him carry a knife like that
Yeah. It was
pretty commonly?
Yeah, it was mainly those two.
Okay.
He broke one of them.
And I think I cut you off. You were saying he called it something?
He called one Picker, and then he called that one Poker.
Okay. Did Aiden ever discuss anything to you that would make you think he wanted to try to use a knife on somebody or anything like that?
Aiden talked about killing people a lot.
He did?
Yeah. But Aiden and I had a dark sense of humor, and I never took him seriously.
Right.
He talked about wanting to kill me, sometimes he would take his knife and pretend to stab me with it. Or sometimes he would come up behind me and put it against my throat and pretend to slit my throat. But I wasn't scared or anything. He never...
You trusted him?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, he would also, like, freak out if he accidentally elbowed me and apologize, shit like that, so... Sorry, just...
No, I understand. I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit because I've got a lot of questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear Aiden and Trey discuss a specific plan to do something to somebody?
No.
Did you ever hear Aiden discuss having a certain plan that he wanted to carry out? And not maybe specifically to a certain person, but did he ever discuss in detail, like, this is how I would do something, or this is what I want to do?
Yeah, he did.
Can you tell me about that?
We were sitting on my roof, and the topic was brought up again about, he asked me, like, what I would do if he murdered someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what my answer really was, but he would say that if he was going to murder someone, it was going to be planned.
Okay. I know it's tough, but I want you to kind of go into detail about what he said he would do when he planned this.
He said that he would just walk at night or something and find, like, a random person walking to and just drag them in the woods and stab them.
Okay.
He said that he thinks it's gonna happen soon. He said I should expect it within the month.
And when was that he said this?
I think this month. I don't know.
Where did he tell you that?
On the roof of my house.
Okay. Did he ever discuss any other details about how he would do it? I mean, is that pretty much the gist of it, or was there something else?
That was basically what he said.
Did he ever discuss trying to conceal, like if he was to hurt somebody, how he would try to get away with it or anything?
He said he'd just act innocent and keep killing people, and then he would run away or something.
Okay.
And make people think that he was dead too and just keep on doing it.
Okay. Did Aiden, other than what you just told me, did he communicate anything to you about, hey, I think I'm going to do this weekend, or I'm going to do something? Did you guys have any talks about stuff like that?
No.
Okay.
He didn't. The only time that we would really talk about something like that was never over text. Or it would be, like, in person, and
okay,
we would just talk.
Did Aiden use any social media accounts?
I know that he used Snapchat.
Do you know his Snap?
It's Aiden Tech _ something, but...
Is it Aiden TECH? Or...
I think it might have a K. But, he has a Instagram that has his Snapchat in his Instagram bio. So, if you just look up Aiden Fucci, his Instagram will pop up, and you'll see it in his bio.
Okay. Was Aiden, like, really protective of his phone? Would he ever let you use his phone?
He would let me use his phone.
Okay.
He was never protective of it.
Do you know how would you get into his phone?
He would tell me his password.
Do you know it?
It's his birthday, but he had it, like, it was a long password, and he had it, like, a weird way to, like, kind of put your birthday as your password. I don't know. I know that he was born on November 6, 2006.
Mm-hmm. When you say it was long, like, if you had to guess how many digits it was, what do you think?
Maybe like 6 or 7 digits.
Okay. And you don't remember the code? I mean, you don't remember parts of it or how it started, or...
I would always, like, forget his past. I never, like, memorized it.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that, like, the number 11 is in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's probably number 6 or something. I don't know.
Okay. Did he change his password often, or he always used the same one?
No, he always had the same one.
Okay. Let's talk about Tristan for a minute. How well do you know Tristan? Or did you know Tristan?
We weren't friends, but we hung out. I wasn't super close with her, but we hung out once, and I knew her from Trey. And he would just kind of invite her over, and she would talk to Aiden because Aiden knew Trey, and she, like, I never really, like, hung out with them all together. I only did that once.
When was that?
I don't know how long ago it was. I just knew that Aiden and I were having a sleepover at Trey's, and he invited Tristan over for a little, and then she went home.
Okay. What do you think happened Sunday? Saturday night, Sunday morning? Well, before we get into that, let me ask you this. Did you talk with Trey at all Saturday night or Sunday morning?
No. Yes. Actually, yes. Sunday morning, we had a few exchanges. The first thing he said to me, he said, "Yo, Tristan's missing." And I was like, "What?" And then he said, "I'm talking to the police now." And then he Snapchatted me, like, a little bit before I think the police took his phone. We were just talking about how crazy this was and how, like, confused we were and, like, what was going on. I was trying to ask about Aiden. And Trey and Aiden were just in the back of a cop car. Aiden seemed fine.
So, you were talking with Trey or with Aiden?
I was talking with both of them.
Okay. Did Aiden convey anything to you or say anything over the phone, social media, text, anything that would lead you to believe that there was something more than just Tristan missing?
We were Snapchatting, and then he told me, "Hey, I think they're going to arrest me. They're reading me my rights. I'm going to plead the fifth." And that he said he loved me, and I got a FaceTime from him, and I answered it, and he said, "I love you." And then he hung up.
Okay. That's all he said? He didn't say anything further?
That's all he said.
Okay.
I can't remember all of the things we said to one another. I just said, "It's gonna be okay," because I didn't know that she was dead. I just thought that she was at her friend's house or something. He told me that he got home around 1, that they both left Trey's house at 1 or something. And he went his way and she went her way, and that Tristan said that she just wasn't going home.
Okay.
And he said that she's probably just doing some stupid shit at a friend's house or something.
Okay. Have you ever been to the area of the woods where Tristan was found?
I don't believe I have.
Do you know where I'm talking about?
I know that it's near Aiden's house.
Okay.
And I Wasn't there like a pond where they were trying to find her phone?
There's a pond in the area.
Okay. I think Aiden told me about the pond because he would go there and he told me he would smoke weed there.
Mm-hmm. You've never been there with Aiden to smoke weed?
No.
Okay. Did you ever smoke weed with Aiden?
Yes, I quit smoking. But yes, at some point I did.
Have you talked to Trey since this has been going on?
Yes, I have.
What's Trey told you?
Trey told me his side of the story. He told me that he was asleep at his house that night and that he doesn't know either. We're both just confused.
Okay. Did Trey tell you, did he say if he saw Aiden or Tristan that night?
Yeah, he said, okay, so this was his story. He said that Aiden came over from my house and they went like skateboarding for a little, or they were like practicing.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Aiden came over from your house?
Yeah, Aiden was at my house, and then around 8 he left for Trey's house.
Okay.
My father has footage on the ring if you need to check that.
Yep.
But he went over to Trey's house, and then around like 10:30 I went skating, and I got home and he FaceTimed me and we talked for a little bit, and then he said that he had to go because Trey and him were gonna go skateboarding for a little, and that was the last conversation I had with him that night. But from Trey's point of view, this is what happened. They decided that they were gonna steal some of Trey's dad's CBD weed, and they were smoking on the side of the house, and Trey was like, do you want to invite Tristan over? And Aiden said, I don't care. And so Tristan came over, and Trey was smoking. They were, I guess, on the side of his house, and then he went back inside and he fell asleep. And then he woke up and he went back outside and he took another hit. And then he went back inside and fell asleep. Sorry if none of this makes sense.
No, it does.
And then he woke up and he said, I'm tired. I don't think you guys should be here anymore. Because Trey was grounded at this time and Aiden wasn't supposed to be over at his house. And so he told both of them to go home.
Okay.
And then he fell asleep.
So, just to clarify to me, where at Trey's house would they normally smoke?
Side of the house, I guess.
So, if you're looking at the front of the house,
Mm-hmm.
which side are we talking? The left side, the right side?
Okay, so there's like when you go to Trey's house, there's like a fence that'll be like by his house,
Mm-hmm.
and they would be like back there because Trey's room was like here, and then the like gate between the other house was like here, and they would kind of just smoke in between that area.
So that Trey's room would be on the left side of the house if I'm looking at the front.
Yes, I believe. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
About what time did Trey say that Aiden got to his house?
He never said that. He just said that Aiden was at his house for like 5 hours or something.
Okay. Did he say about what time he told him to leave?
Sometime around 1.
Okay.
Probably not precisely 1, but in the span of like 1 to 2.
Okay.
It was sometime at 1. 12. I don't know.
Do you know of any other social media accounts that Aiden used besides the Snap, the Aiden Tech?
Like I said, he had an Instagram, and he also had a TikTok.
Do you know what his TikTok account was?
No, I don't.
Could we get that off your phone? Like if you grabbed your phone and looked, could you find out?
I tried looking up his TikTok on my TikTok, and nothing came up. But if you need me to do that, I can do that.
Yeah, we can try that. We'll do that in a minute, though. Obviously, you and Aiden were pretty close. Can you tell me about Preston?
His brother. Preston and Aiden got along pretty well. Whenever I went over to their house, Preston would come in and those two would hang out. Sometimes Preston would come over to my house and we'd all hang out. They were, I don't know, they had a normal sibling relationship. There wasn't, like, not anything really significant about their relationship, just that they were...
Just normal stuff?
Yeah, they just acted like brothers.
Okay. And what about Dylan? Dylan Hicks?
Yeah, I know that Aiden hated being compared to Dylan. His dad would compare him to Dylan because his dad thought Dylan was kind of a fuck up. And Aiden, I know that Dylan and Aiden didn't have like the strongest relationship. Dylan would like get mad at him for no reason sometimes, and Aiden would get pissed about it, and we just kind of always talk about like, or just ask like, why is my brother in such a shitty mood and stuff like that.
Okay. Just so I understand, is Dylan Aiden's stepbrother? What's the relationship there?
I know they're not fully biologically related, and I'm pretty sure Dylan is his half brother. Yeah, I think that's what he told me.
Okay. If you had to take a guess, if I said, hey, I need to figure out how to get into Aiden's phone, do you know of anybody that would know that code?
You could ask Trey, but I don't know if he'll know either.
Okay. Have you ever heard any rumors or heard anything from Trey or from Aiden about anything being exchanged for sex acts?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe I have. I know that Aiden tried to cheat on me with Tristan because him and I got in a fight, and he thought I cheated on him because I sent a picture of me next to one of my sister's guy friends. He was coming back from a party, so I guess he had alcohol in his system. He was freaking out.
Okay.
He got really mad.
When was that?
I don't know what month.
Not like within the last week. It's been a little while. Or?
It's been a while since that happened. But yeah, it never happened, and he never did anything with Tristan that night, and he told Trey not to tell me.
He told Trey not to tell you what?
That he tried to cheat on me with her.
Okay. And how did you find out about that?
Trey told me when we went back in contact. He said, well, this is what was going to happen that night.
When you say that night, are you referring to Saturday night?
No, the night that him and I got in a fight.
Okay. I'm pretty sure there's more questions that I'm going to think of. Right this second, I can't really think of anything else. Is there anything that you can think of that you think we need to know? Take your time. There's no rush here. And so if you understand something, if there's something that you feel like we need to know and you're afraid to tell us, it's okay. Okay? You can talk right now.
It's nothing about her. I didn't even know that they were together that night until the next day, and he told me.
You mean Aiden told you?
Yeah, I asked, like, were you guys with her last night? And he was like, yeah. And that's all I said about it.
When did you ask him that?
Sunday morning, when she went missing. I was questioning both of them. I was like, were you guys with her? And they were like, yeah, we were, but she went home.
Okay, when was that? Was that before he was with the police, or was that?
That was, like, when the police came to his house. He was in the back of the car or something.
Okay. Is there anything else you need to tell me? And Zofie, now's the time to tell me, because this is important stuff.
Yeah,
okay?
I know.
So if there's something that you're embarrassed about or something you're scared to say, you can tell me. That's part of the reason I think you wanted to come out here without your parents, was because I think you have some stuff that you're probably not that comfortable saying in front of them, and I understand that. And again, I can't make you tell me stuff, but like I said, this is important stuff, okay?
I just don't... It's not like him.
What's not like him?
To kill someone. As much as he said that he, like, wanted to kill people and stuff, Trey and I both knew that he was saying that for attention and to try to seem, like, cool or tough or something. And it wasn't serious. There was no reason to take him seriously until now.
Okay.
And
why do you think that's what happened?
I just don't know what else he would get so angry about to the point where he had to kill him. I kind of had that theory before, but I've also been in contact with his cousin Hannah, and she was kind of, me and her were texting back and forth, and she was trying to tell me everything she knew.
Who is Hannah?
His cousin. She didn't tell me things because she wasn't allowed to, but I guessed some things, and she...
What's Hannah's last name? Is it Fucci as well?
I don't know her last name. All I know is her first name was Hannah. She lived with her uncle, Aiden's dad. She lived with them in his house, and Hannah and Aiden were close.
Okay.
Hannah and I were probably two of the closest people to him.
When you say Hannah lived in his house, you mean Aiden's house, or
Aiden's dad's
okay.
house. She lived at Aiden's dad's.
Where is that house?
I've never been there.
Okay. How old is Hannah?
16.
Where does she go to school?
I don't know.
Okay.
But she wasn't telling me things that she wasn't allowed to. I took guesses, and she didn't say that I was wrong.
Okay. Where would Aiden keep his knives?
He didn't hide them. He would usually have them out on his desk at his house, or he'd have it in his pocket.
Okay.
He never hid them.
If Aiden was to hide something in his room, where do you think he would hide it?
Behind the dresser in his closet.
Why do you say that?
He would hide his drugs there, anything that he knew his parents didn't need to find.
Okay. You've seen him hide stuff there before?
I've seen him hide a Ouija board in there, my Ouija board, because his parents were super spiritual, and he hid it back there because he didn't want them to know that we were doing that stuff. That's the only thing I really saw him hide.
Okay. Have you ever seen Aiden draw anything?
Yeah.
What would he draw?
Both him and I drew, like, kind of the same stuff. He liked drawing, like, more graphic things, but Aiden kind of... I know there's a picture somewhere that I have that he drew. And he drew it for me because he didn't know how to tell me how he felt.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked, can I draw something to try to explain it? And I said, yeah. And I have it somewhere in my house, and if I find it...
Can you describe it?
There were a few pictures that I think that Aiden tried to draw that were himself. And one of them was a bunch of words that said that he was worthless and that he should kill himself. Aiden told me that he had voices in his head that told him those things, that told him that he was worthless and a disappointment. And I know that he struggled with self-harm sometimes, and he told me multiple times that he had hated himself and that he wanted to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
He also told me that whenever he gets angry, that voice tells him to kill people. And he knew there was something wrong with him, I think. And he wanted to reach out for help.
Okay. When you say he drew graphic pictures,
Just like mutilated bodies and stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
Most of the time he just draw stupid things like mushrooms and...
So, right now, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the interview. There's going to be more questions that come up, and I appreciate you talking to me right now. Some of the stuff you're telling me is more helpful than you realize. But if I need to talk to you more, are you willing to talk to me more?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and conclude the interview right now.
Mm-hmm.
The time is 1:59 p.m.